Okay, I don't know if this is working. I don't know if it's working. But I'm going to keep talking and as if it were. Dashboard, video manager, analytics, video manager, live events. I know about that. I've already concessed it. Stupid thing. Hello! And here we are. Yay. Okay, I don't know if this is working. I don't know if it's working. But I'm going to keep talking and as if it were. There we go. Look, I don't like World of Warcraft. I got Magello over here in the channel. Oh, it's so funny. It's so funny. The satire and parody of Warhammer 40K. The subtle political, socio-political commentary. Look, Warhammer 40K is not a subtle socio-political commentary. It's a bunch of pretentious adolescents coming together, writing a game that whose entire socio-political message could be summed up as war bad, peace good. The sort of thinking you get from people who have never had anything worth fighting for. Yes, war is bad, you juvenile dolts. There are things in this world that are far worse than war. Like slavery and genocide. You want to stop those things, a harsh letter isn't going to do it. I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I don't like it at all because, quite bluntly, their objective is, first of all, two things. War bad. Yeah, I'm sorry. The dope smoking hippies couldn't sell that bullcrap. All war is bad. No. War is a terrible thing, but sometimes it's a terrible necessity. And the second of all is that they sell the idea that there's no such thing as good guys and bad guys. There's no such thing as right and wrong or good and evil. Horse crap. In every war, there is an aggressor. And in case you're struggling to figure it out, yeah, that's the bad guy. The guy that flew a plane. The guys that flew a plane into the Twin Towers on September 11th, 2001. Those are the bad guys. They're the ones that started the war. The guys who were stuffing Jews in ovens, bad guys. The people who attacked another nation's harbor when they were, and then sent a declaration of war that arrived like half an hour later. Bad guys. I get so sick of people talking about what warmongers America has been historically. Bull crap. Americans don't want to fight war. Americans want to be left the heck alone. It's why America started. Because all the people in England and in other countries who were sick of being harassed. That is how the Pilgrims came here. because they didn't want to fight. They just wanted to go someplace far away and be left alone. That's all they wanted. And all the people that came after them. The overwhelming principle is we just want to go someplace where we can mind our own business and be left the heck alone. And it's the rest of the darn world that won't leave us alone. Okay? And then they're astonished when we turn, when they come around kicking us in the behind over and over again, and then we turn around and rip their leg off. What a shock! I'm sorry, it just gets on my nerves. Gets on my last nerve. Now, let's see. Let me pull up. Okay, now, I'm going to say we're going to try out this new Comicado. It doesn't seem to work in PNG format, which is the format I use for my comic strips. Let's see, Comicado. Turn on Comicado. Here we go. It's very interesting. I've never used this before. This may be an educational experience. Okay, and I'm gonna open up Windows. Pardon me. I'm gonna close this out. I'm gonna open up PaintShop Pro so I can copy settings that I've got over there. Okay, yes. Channel windows are open. Okay, I hate that. It's just Warhammer is yeah. I love this column that Magello linked me to. It's talking about the subtle socio-political commentary of Warhammer. Yeah. You keep using the word subtle. I do not think it is meaning what you are thinking it is meaning. It's really sad that somebody actually thinks that this is a subtle socio-political message being handed out with Warhammer. First two things: there's no wrong and there's no right, and war is therefore always wrong. Well, that's the principle. Is the hippie logic ran this way. The so-called peace movement logic ran this way, and it was easily sold to young, stupid people. That all conflict is caused by disagreements. Therefore, if we just stopped disagreeing with everybody, we'd never have wars again. Works fabulously, doesn't it? Okay, let's see what this program does. Let's see, new. Okay, generic, 1,000 by 1,000. New board. It's got standards. 450 dots per inch. Ooh. Yeah, this is probably. Ooh, look at that. Ooh, I'm already going. Ooh, woo. Okay, 7 by 10.5 page trim area. 450 dots per inch. Yeah, that's probably a lot better. Okay, I'm going to pull up the people I publish through Kablam.com. I've still got to do a new cover for them and send it to, because all my work is under a Creative Commons license. I want to do everything I've got under Creative Commons, so that if anybody can find something useful in my stuff, go for it. All I ask is that you admit that you got the idea from me. Now, let's see. www. If you're looking to publish comic books, printed comic books, this is the place to go. Kablam.com. www.ka/BLAM.com. Kablam.com. Log in. Log in. Okay. Then we go around there. Oh, I got a new message here. I better read it. Okay, let's see. Tech specs. Let's see. This is nice. It's, this Kamikato has already sold me. It's custom, standard double size page template. Standard size page. I'm thinking I'm going with standard size page template. Standard size 6.25 times 9.75. Board size is 7 by 10.5. Yeah, that's the exact size. Trim area 6.75. And 10.25. Trim area is 6.75. 10.251. 6.3, 9.45. The live area or safe area is 6.25. And 9.75. Okay. That can't be right. Okay, this is not exactly going to be a slow learning, quick learning curve. I don't know what that is. Don't know what that is. And okay, I'm thinking that I should probably read the manual. This is intriguing, but I don't know how to use it. Scooby-Doo. I don't know. What do we got here? This is a very puzzling thing. Composition guys, rule of thirds. I think we're onto something. There's the grid. Okay. Let's see. Snap to grid. This is goodness. Okay, this is okay. I'm going to have to take another rain check on this one because I am having a deuce of a time figuring out how to use it. This is not exactly a pop open the box and play kind of thing. It's a little bit of a learning curve, it looks like. Okay, this is very interesting though. It's got the automated settings and file. Just close this. No. Okay, I'm gonna let this. I'm gonna shut this down. I'm just gonna go back to PaintShop Pro because this looks like crap I do not know how to use. So I'm just gonna have to take a day and just learn it thoroughly. It's you know starting point is you're just going to have to take a couple of pull up some online instructions on how to use it. In case you wonder, I'm eating fried chicken, Kentucky fried chicken, Kentucky fried chicken, yay, extra crispy. Just that's the thing about it. You get craving for Kentucky fried chicken once you've eaten like 3 or 4 pieces. You never want it again until 3 or 4 months later when you crave it again. Now, if I'd have started out with Kamikato, I'd probably be really better off because it already has all the preset formats, sizes and looks like it has all the grids and the measurements and everything already installed. So you just pick a preset and work with that. I would have learned how to use the art end of things, brush and everything, eventually. But I'm going to be tinkering with that for ages just to figure it all out. It took me forever to learn PaintShop Pro that way. There's still things in PaintShop Pro I'm learning. Basically because there's not exactly an online course where you sit down and somebody instructs you step by step through everything you want to do with this thing. KFC. I went to KFC. I just wanted to buy a bucket of chicken. Bucket of chicken. I come in there. They got all these fancy menu arrangements up there, and you can't find bucket of 12 pieces. You want that? You can't find it. They don't have a list of bucket price. Most people, I'm sorry, most people don't go in there for the fancy chicken cheese potato bowl. They go in there for a bucket of chicken. At least we always used to. I mean, KFC was not a sit-down restaurant. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't fancy eats. It was chicken, fried, bucket, go. Pardon. I'm a disgusting old man. Belching and burping. Okay, view grid. Okay, let's work on Tales of the Questor page. I know you all have been waiting for that for a while. I just had to get that Space Ranger story done. I'm not sure who I'm going to lampoon next, but they'll deserve it. Yeah. I don't know. Might make fun of the Star Wars franchise. I don't know. Low-hanging fruit, Let's see. There's so much terrible. It is well-made sci-fi, but it's terrible philosophies. Terrible philosophies, and that should be a concern to everybody. People forget. We are our mythology. We are the stories we tell. Our vision. Fantasy is our vision of how the world was and should have been. Science fiction is our vision of how the world will be or should be. and the myths we sell ourselves influence how we see the future and how we work towards it. As a Christian, my perspective of what the future is going to be like is vastly different. And a false image of the future is guaranteed that the immediate future is going to be a mess. All these people who believe that the UN is going to be the first step towards Starfleet and the Federation are going to buy anything that those suckers sell them. People who buy socialism as a philosophy people who they're not going to be able to prepare accordingly for real life crises. People who buy a perverted, distorted version of things. Is it? Look, one of the things Christianity every evangelical Christian, every missionary, every door-to-door witness, every Christian who's ever tried to lead somebody to the message of salvation has struggled against the fact that our popular culture sells a bold-faced lie about what Christianity is really like and what it's really about and about our history. I mean, how many times have you seen people post some glib little internet meme picture of supposedly showing how Christianity caused the Dark Ages, and how Christianity persecuted scientists and such. It's interesting. You ask them to name one, and they go Galileo, and that's the only name they've got. They wouldn't defend Galileo so much if they knew what a twit he was. Oh yeah, he was a jerk. The reason he got in trouble is because he personally insulted several prominent political and religious figures, satirized them as morons in a public writing, which is a stupid thing to do, especially in the Renaissance. He didn't get in trouble for saying the world was round or for saying that the Earth orbited the sun. There were plenty of people that said that at that time. He got in trouble for being a jackass about it. People pointed out that his model wasn't correct. You see, he had circular orbits plotted out, but that didn't account for the movement of the planets as seen, which is understandable because we don't orbit the Earth the Earth doesn't orbit the sun in a circle; it orbits in an ellipse. Well, like this. Let me show you here. Just a quick second here. Whoop, that's a circle. Ha 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 ha. There, like this. And there are two focal points in an ellipse. About here. Well, in this one, it's about here and about here. The large object, when one object is orbiting another, the larger object will be right here, the sun would be right here, and the Earth would be moving on the pattern right here. And the moon does the same thing, right? But his model didn't take that into account or explain it, and he got torqued because people pointed that out. And basically insulted the crap out of people. And it didn't take too much for his political enemies to convince the local religious leadership that he was attacking them and the church. Because he was. Now, okay, I haven't got. Why isn't? Let's see, Corel Paint Shop Pro. Okay, why is my Paint Shop Pro not showing here? Hold on. Let me try moving it up. I've been drawing these illustrations. You can't see them. Yeah, that works great. But position, order, move up. Why is it not opening? Properties. There we go. Don't know why it wasn't working. And I'm guessing Kamikado wasn't working either, was it? Wasn't working at all this entire time. I've been shooting my mouth off. It didn't. You couldn't see it. Probably not. Must be a barge coming through. Anyway, like I was saying, you get it. Orbits are an ellipse, like sort of an egg shape, and the sun's at one focal point, and the Earth's on the orbit. And Galileo's models didn't account for that, and so his math was off. Here's another one. Everybody goes around saying that the church taught the Earth was flat. No, it didn't. And that Columbus proved the Earth was round. No, he didn't. In fact, Columbus was a colossal screw-up. See, they already had two models of how large the Earth was. The ancient Greeks had already calculated the circumference of the Earth to within a few hundred miles. What they did is they basically they used it involved taking measurements at high noon of the shadow of a pole stuck in the ground in two different cities. And it involved a lot of math, which I have forgotten since high school. But they could do it, and you just sat down and wrote it out, and they had it within a couple of hundred miles. They didn't take into account a couple of things, like the fact that the Earth bulges out at the equator a little. That kind of thing. But they figured it out. And there was another bunch of scholars during Columbus's time who had calculated out a much smaller circumference. Columbus had bet on the wrong horse. He was insisting that the Earth was much, much smaller than it actually is, based on these new calculations. And the only reason he and his entire crew didn't die is trying to get to India is because the continent, the North and South American continents were in the way. He came around on the East Indies, of course, but he and his crew they would have starved. They would have died because he got his math several thousands of miles wrong. But it's been sold in classrooms for almost 100 years now that Columbus thought the world was round, everybody else thought the world was flat. No. In fact, there were very few people with any education who thought that the Earth was flat. Anybody with even a moderate education knew that the world was round. Anybody who was a sailor knew it was round. Because you go out on the ocean, you climb up on that mainmast, you look out, you can see the curve of the Earth. You can watch a boat sink over the horizon, disappearing first as a mast goes down. There's a dozen different ways to prove that the Earth was round. It was fairly common knowledge by that point, and it had been for years. And in fact, in the Bible, it says that the Earth was round in several different places. That it was round. It speaks of the circle of the Earth. The word used, translated circled, is also the same word used for a sphere. They had one word, circle or sphere. It was context based. They said it was the circle of the Earth. It was the same word that you use for the circle shape of an orange. And it said that it hung into space. That it hung suspended on nothing. Biblical passage. The idea of a flat Earth is not originated in the Bible. Yeah, there's my mistake. Yeah, like I was saying earlier, I just didn't realize I have to look at my control up and down from my control panel to see what I'm doing here. Yay. Okay, no music, of course, because I found the button that lets me flip the image. That's one of the tricks that the people on YouTube use to avoid that. To keep from accidentally tripping that stupid automated copyright detector. They when they do reviews and stuff, they'll flip the image so that it's backwards. They record it without sound too. Because apparently the thing can detect images as well. And it's about as reliable as you'd expect. this is nothing. Well, what I was saying earlier, this is basically nothing new. Christianity has always gotten and always will get a bum rap. No matter what Christianity has contributed to a society, no matter what Christians have done, we will not be given a fair shake so long as the devil can manage it. If something goes wrong, we will be blamed for it. If something goes right, we will receive no credit for it. Because men, quite bluntly, love darkness more than they love light. I've gotten addicted to Candy Crush, by the way. Play it for free, There we go. You get stuck on it. You get resent getting outsmarted by a candy machine. I don't know, It's addictive. All those games on Facebook are very addictive. Very, very, it doesn't require a lot of... it requires a lot of, it requires focus and intelligence, but it doesn't require a lot of in-depth thought to analyze the rules or the movements. They're very simple to learn, very challenging to play. Oh, latest episode of My Little Pony. It was silly. It was fun. It was Weird Al Yankovic, and I'm watching the video right. I'm watching my own video right now, and I'm not moving. That's bothering me because. Look at me. Right now, I'm looking at myself, and I look like I've been stuck with a tranquilizer dart. I tend to sit with my mouth open. I like to make things that make us go. We are the pack lad. But okay. Yeah. Maybe I need to turn the camera down so it's looking at my hands or something, because my face ain't doing nothing for this show. But He's, what was I thinking about? What was I talking about? Oh, the latest episode of My Little Pony. That was good. It was fun. I wonder. I get from the way it played. I'm pretty sure that Weird Al was the one who composed all the music for it, or most of it at least. It was a hoot and a half. But I'll say this much. It's nice to see a writer occasionally admit that Pinkie Pie can have emotions other than wacky. I'm sorry, the wacky thing gets so tiresome. Adrian Halls, I don't know what you're needing to do. It's the video's playing, it's running, picture is moving, everything is going. Maybe I should have like a pinwheel or something, turning right here. Yeah, so that you can tell, that I'm sitting here, and and the picture isn't frozen. Yeah, I'll go for that. I'll get like a pinwheel and stick it on the back of my chair. Flip, 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 flip. But yeah. Anyways, Pinkie Pie has a lot of potential as a character. We're talking about a character whose element is laughter. That Adrian, I don't know what you do. You go to the YouTube channel, you hit play. What are you trying to do with it? Anyway, it's just okay. The biggest problem with Pinkie Pie is that they started out with one idea and they've stuck with it. She's one-dimensional. The only thing she cares about is parties. She's supposed to want to make people smile. Smile, smile, smile. That's always great. But the only she's incredibly one-dimensional in how she goes about it. There are more ways to make other people happy, to make them laugh, and to make them smile than parties. And really, partying is the last thing that kids need to be encouraged in. Especially at a certain age, But if you think the only way you can be happy is to have a party all the time, birthday cakes and balloons, that's as bad as being that can be bad as being depressed all the time. They need to expand the concept a little. There are more things in this earth that can bring joy and laughter into people's lives than cakes and balloons, Laughter has been one of the greatest comforts in my life. I am by nature a very negative and very easily depressed and stressed, and an anxious person. And finding something that made me smile, made me laugh, made me feel good, that was a treasure. That was an absolute treasure. I loved even when I was a little boy, I loved old comedies. I loved the Three Stooges. I loved Abbott and Costello and Laurel and Hardy. And I just... cartoons didn't make me laugh. Quite frankly, the old Bugs Bunny cartoons... they didn't make me laugh. I had to grow up I had to be like 10 years older than I was before I started, seeing, oh yeah, that's supposed to be a joke. from my perspective, it was like a nature documentary on the behavior of Cartoonius Pictorius. Anvils falls, Bunny Rabbit goes squash. Elmer Fudd pulls the trigger, blows his face up. Yeah, that's how it goes. I didn't realize they were supposed to be a joke until I heard my dad laugh at one, and I'm like, my dad never laughed at anything. That was sad. But it stopped being. The Warner Brothers cartoons stopped being funny generations ago. They became a trope in and of themselves, and they ceased to work as comedy. But I loved comedy. Anything that made me laugh. I would walk a mile for a Three Stooges skit. A comedy routine, a stage comedian, anything. A clown. I loved clowns as a kid. And I seriously resent how clowns have become this sort of symbol of creepy and evil in these latter days. That says something about the descent of human nature, I think. There's something wrong with humanity. We no longer find clowns enjoyable. There's something wrong. But root beer, breakfast of champions. But well, there you have it. I've always felt that making people smile and laugh was a work of God. It was a blessing from God. Laugh, because it was the I had to regard it as such because it lifted me. A simple laugh could lift me out of my grim, dark, depressed nature. Help me get past it. Help me forget it for a while. Forget my anxieties about my life and my future and my past and my soul. I've always been afflicted with doubts about my soul and my salvation, and simply arguing at myself rarely helped. There are just times where you can't convince yourself of anything that you know is true. Even though you know it's true, you can't convince yourself. If it was my faithfulness, if it's my faithfulness that my salvation depended on, I have no hope. My only hope is that I believed that I believed and I asked Christ to be my Savior, and my only hope is that He promised whoever would be His. And if there is anything else required of me other than accepting Him, then I have no hope. Because I am too weak to get through a single day on my own, much less to eternity. I'm very anxious. I've always been a very anxious person, and making people smile and laugh is how I cheer myself up. Ooh, pardon. Whoosh. Oh, that one had legs. I'm getting way off topic. But the point is that a character like Pinkie Pie, they had a potential to make a very deep and complex character. Because, quite frankly, making other people smile is a very making other people happy is a very complex and challenging thing. In the latest episode, I want to give the writer kudos because they remembered, hey, Pinkie Pie is actually capable of more than one emotion. They showed her sad. They showed her lonely. They showed her crying because her friends, she had gone out of her way to try and make a happy birthday for Rainbow Dash, and all her friends abandoned her for the new kid in town. And you could just see her self-worth just fall through the floor. And this was a much better interpretation of her than Party of One. I've always said a Party of One had one big flaw. It showed her going crazy. All the psycho light effects in the weird staring eyes while she was having the party with the bucket of flour and a bag of turnips and all that. Bag of flour and bucket of turnips and all that. What they should have done is showed her being sad and pouty. And that she was having that, done the party the same way, except that she would have been like a sad, lonely little girl throwing a party for her dolls because because she didn't have any friends. That's the way they should have gone with it. Instead, they turned her into this creepy Stepford Smiler, and it really just didn't work for me. Well, especially not after the creation of cupcakes. You remember that one? Oh, doggone it! I drew it on the wrong layer. Oh well, fudge. Let's try this again. It would have shown, it would have been much better, I think, and it would have been it would have gone a lot further to getting her, getting the audience to have sympathy for Pinkie Pie. I'm sorry, people don't really have sympathy for people who go bug nuts over something that simple. Axe crazy is not the route to audience sympathy. But this new one, with Pinkie Pride, her versus cheese sandwich, and she realized she's no longer the party pony anymore. And you just see her heart break, and you just go, "Oh." they have been very bad about making Pinkie Pie a sympathetic character. She's amusing at times, but she's more tiresome than anything. A Friend Indeed, where she persecutes that poor donkey because he wants to be his friend. You know. And in the end, it wasn't about him, it was all about her, you know. And that was the same problem with Party of One. It wasn't about her friend, it was all about her, you know. And but this time they got it right, you know. You really felt for her, because you know, here is this pony that, you know, she'd gone out of her, she'd worked so hard to make other people smile. And the instant somebody with a cooler, flashier, more fun, you know, I mean, is there ever a kid who can't relate to being abandoned by friends for somebody who has who looks more fun or who has a shinier toy? You remember how that was in grade school? You know, you'd have two or three friends, and then, oh, we're, you know, oh, new kid with new, you know, whatever was popular under his arm, under their arm, and suddenly all your friends couldn't care less. You know, couldn't care less. You know, they go off and play with them, and you're left there sitting all alone. Tell me you couldn't relate to that. You know. Did everybody stop commenting? Because you're sitting right there, and I'm seeing nothing since the propeller hat comment. Uh, it has been snowing to beat the band around here. It has been. I've got like almost 6 inches of snow. You know, well, about this deep, 5 or 6 inches of snow out there, and it's been over 30 degrees all day. It's you know, it's a fairly warm day. You know, just piled on, piled on. There wasn't an inch of snow on the ground last night, and by this morning, yeah, I almost couldn't get my van out of my driveway because the snow piled in front of it. Rocked it, had to rock it back and forth 2 or 3 times to get it out. Like, thank you, snowplow man. Uh, I found it interesting. The next secret key to the Mystic Box is a rubber chicken. A rubber chicken. That just, yeah. Okay. A little strange, but let's roll with it. Okay, now you know, hands up. How many people were expecting, you know, the 6 keys, that all six they were all going to have to go on some big trek or big saga or something like that? You know, sort of like Lauren Faust wanted. You know, epic adventure time. You know. I was expecting it too. No, they're just going to be handed the keys by accident, it looks like. And it seems like each of the keys is gotten by them relearning a lesson they got in lesson 2 in season 2 or 3. don't care what anybody says. It's firmly established. The Wonderbolts are jerks. They ditched their partner, told him they didn't need, basically just they ditched him, and then they tried to weasel somebody away from their hometown team, so that they, just to improve their own odds. Fully knowing they were going to qualify anyway. I mean, this was the Wonderbolts. They weren't exactly struggling to meet the qualifying laps, And I'm sorry. And then when they got caught, they're Spitfires. Oh, hey there, boy, you sure taught us a lesson. We could sure learn from guys like you. Whoa, nice save. That sums up. Oh, nice save there. and Soren. Poor Soren. You gotta you just gotta wonder how whipped he is. All they had to do was whistle, and he came running back. I would have been like, bite me. You didn't think you needed me. Well, guess what? You're going to do without me. Feel free to find a qualifier, I mean, this was their teammate, the guy that flew with them, season in and season out, and they kick him to the curb. They're terrible at this. I mean, the Flight Academy episode. They give the wing leader badge to the most reckless recruit in the group, and then she nearly kills a bunch of visiting political figures, and Spitfire doesn't do a darn thing about it. Rainbow Dash has to go in and practically rip her head off and quit just to get Spitfire off her duff to do something. And I'm sorry, kicking her out the door wasn't the right approach. Kicking Lightning Dust completely out wasn't the answer either. I'm sorry, Lightning Dust's behavior up to that point got their applause. I'm sorry, you don't change. You don't go praising somebody for their behavior, and then at the last minute go, oh wait, we don't approve. Boom, out the door. No. I could see busting her down a rank or putting her in disciplinary, but throwing her out for doing exactly what you wanted her to do? No. They're a bunch of, I'm sorry, it's 4 seasons in. The record is sealed. They're a bunch of jerk jocks. That's tragic, I'm sorry. What gets me is just the the obvious insincerity behind their apology. It wasn't even an apology. It would just galled me. I've seen that sort of response to being called on the carpet from people before. It's just, gah. No sincerity to it, no contrition to it. Just that cocksure attitude. Just, ugh. I had to work with a guy like that. He was a complete tool, but he knew how to schmooze. I mean, worked him in work. I ended up working with him again. Left that store and moved. Found another job at a telemarketing company, and there he was. Uh, he was a floor manager by that point. Those companies, man. I mean, promotions are based on not on actual work ability, but on being able to rah your way up the ladder. I hated that guy's guts. It's pathetic of me, but I did. I was I won't go into it. I was not a very good, I was promoted to assistant manager. No raise or anything, just you know, more responsibility, and an excuse for them to leave me alone, working alone in an unsafe environment without any assistance for 2 hours a night. But this was my life. And anyway, I couldn't get him to do anything. He wouldn't listen to me, and he was a truck. He was on duty as a truck driver, but he was for the store. But he was also supposed to do stuff that I asked him to. I'm there all along. He's my only help I had. I'd tell him, "Would you put this down for a minute? Would you put what you're doing down for a minute and come help me do this?" He would ignore me. I would talk to him, and he would pretend I wasn't standing right there. I should have quit right then and there. I had all the responsibilities of a manager and none of the authority. I couldn't report him. I couldn't write. I couldn't do anything. But he had that, hip Top Gun attitude, just. And when he was finally called on the carpet, I was called on the carpet with him. And he pulled out this earnest, earnest, sincere, young, eager employee routine. Couldn't get him to do jack. I mean, this guy was a piece of work. He even stole my lunches. We had a little refrigerator. I stuck a couple of things in there for food, and he wouldn't ask. You just come in there and pull out the food. I'd set in there and make himself a sandwich. I'm like, "What are you doing?" "Oh, hey, mind if I take a sandwich?" Just anything. Just the man was born to great. I won't even call him a man. He was a man-child. At least the pathological liar was entertaining. Well, he was another truck driver. This guy was literally a pathological liar. Just outrageous. He would claim to have been like a Navy SEAL or Black Ops. He claimed to have a Heisman Trophy. I am not kidding you. He brought like some school, grade school peewee football trophy. Obviously, bought it at a garage sale, and tried to tell us all it was a Heisman or something. It was awful. It was unbelievable. You couldn't believe 2 words in a row out of his mouth. If he'd ever said the words "I am lying" right now, the world would have imploded. Kid you not. This was when I was working at Krispy Kreme, a donut shop. I don't know. It wasn't a bad job for the most part, but as time went by, it just chipped away at you. The job I had, I could never do it today. It would kill me. It would literally kill me. It consisted of mixing up batches of dough, throwing them into the donut maker, and cranking out XYZ amount of donuts. We had to. We were understaffed. We should have had at least 3 times the number of people we had working there to handle that machinery properly. Because it was a constant. You were busier than a one-legged man at a butt-kicking contest. It says this was the Krispy Kreme in South Charleston, West Virginia. In case you're ever down that way, consider this a warning, though. About the last year I was there, I worked there about 2 or 3 years. About the last 6 months I was there, we went corporate. And they had a couple of morons with briefcases show up. I've got nothing good to say about them. Because they came in, they did not know how anything worked, they fiddled with the machinery and broke it. I'm not kidding. We had it's a juggling act. You have to manage the glaze machine, you have to manage the donut extruder, you have to manage the little racks that are running up and down through the dough raising machine, and you have to manage the fryer, and you have to have somebody there boxing up the donuts at the other end of the conveyor belt. And it's constant. Over and over. It's just... If you ever go to a Krispy Kreme, you'll watch and you'll see. And you have to be fast. You have to be consistent. You have to keep... And you have to play everything like a harp. Tuning all these little things, making sure the glaze doesn't get too thick or too thin, making sure the oil level stays high, making sure the temperatures are right, and mixing the dough, doing all of this at the same time. And that's not even taking. We had 2 other people who come in whose entire job was just to fill the donuts. That was it. Their whole job was take the donut, stick them on the. They had these things with these prongs sticking out. You'd take these donuts, and then you over here. And that was their life for several hours. And let's put it this way, 50-pound blocks of lard. Well, shortening. Should have been lard. Shortening bad for you. But, then, and 50-pound blocks of lard, 40-pound blocks of frosting, buttercream frosting base, bags of flour as tall as I was, heavy as I was, and 100 pound bags of flour. We'd make 100-pound batches of dough, a dozen just over, just a constant, and the cleaning. Oh, the cleaning. We were understaffed. We were working constantly. We had a three portion sink in the back. It was not big enough for the mixing bowls. The mixing bowls were these tubs this big around. Just big around as, you could have sat in one. And we would have to clean them off between rounds of batches, and we couldn't fit them in the sink. We would have to use a hose, a high-pressure hose attached to the hot water spigot. And I would use scalding hot water because I didn't want any germs or anything. And just spraying it out and rinsing the dough down the drain. And then we'd have to clean the floors. And, oh my. And the weekly clean, we would have to clean the fryers out and the fryer vents and the cleaners and the degreasing and we would have to drain the fryer, and we would have to clean that out with special degreasers too, and it was just too much. And then these corporate guys came in, and they doubled everything. They increased our workload. They increased. They didn't increase our hours, just our workload. They doubled the amount of dough we had to make. So we went from 50-pound batches of dough to 100-pound batches of dough, which we would, we put them in this big mixer you could mix up small children in, and then we take these huge bowls. We'd stick a hook down in the dough. It would knead it and turn it, and then you'd have to pull the hook out, and you'd take this huge 100-pound, 50 to 100 pounds of dough, lift it up, and pour it into the extruder. Just blurf. And you had to do it right. If you did it, if you added the water, temperature and the yeast, and usually the donut guy was there all by his lonesome, doing nearly all of that by himself. That was me. There should have been at least 3 people working that conveyor belt at all times. There should have been at least 2 or 3 people cleaning that fryer every night that we did the cleaning. But no, we were understaffed. We were always understaffed. And then we went corporate, and these morons came in. They fiddle-faddled with all the settings on everything and ruined 2 or 3 batches of donuts doing it. Then they yelled at one of the managers, nice young lady. She was a nice girl, and she was a hard worker. They literally broke her down to tears. And, oh man, I wanted to punch them. I wanted to bust my foot off right in their baby makers. I swear I did. There wasn't anybody in the store that would have disagreed with me either. They're jerks. They were morons. And after that, people started getting sick at work. And I mean, we started getting. You realize this, all this nasty. The floors, we would have to hose them down with scalding water on a regular basis to keep the place clean, and we had to clean out the drains, and we had to clean out the vents and everything, and it was a constant exercise. Cleaners and scrubbers and mops and squeegees and we constantly. And then they doubled our work and didn't give us any extra help. And people started coming down with infections. I mean, nasty infections, myself included. Just from working in all this muck and not being able to keep the place clean. I mean, I had to go to the doctor to have cysts, infected cysts, boils like this, big around, under my arm, the inside of my legs. I had to go to the doctor twice, 2 or 3 times, to have these things lanced. And one of them had to be lanced and stitched, and then go on a round of antibiotics. And at about the same time, while they were switching the paperwork over, they managed to lose my insurance. I filled it all out, made all the paper. They fill these out, and so that we can change over your insurance. And I filled it all out, and I gave it to them, and they lost it. And here I am. I'm working like $6-7 an hour, part time, and having to pay for these medications out of pocket. And these were like $100 antibiotics. This is back when they were just really expensive. It just torpedoed my finance. And, it's just a big old mess. It was just a big old mess. I got a telemarketing job, and I left that place so fast, and it made everybody's head spin. They tried to tell me, you still have a week to go. I said, no, I don't. I was just so sick of that nonsense, and my health was crashing. It didn't help that we could eat the stale donuts or have all the free soda we wanted either. That's my own fault. But between that and all the infection and the disease and working third shift all the time and just running yourself into the ground and my health, it was just grinding my health down a little bit at a time. I got that job. I got that job as $8 an hour doing telemarketing. Bye. I'd had enough. I liked a lot of the people that worked there. And I liked, it was nice. I get the stale, I get the day-old donuts, the leftover donuts, and I'd bring them to church. I mean, I'd have like 14. There was one time I brought 14 dozen donuts, just a stack of boxes this high, just leftover donuts. We were throwing away food left and right there. It drove me nuts. I tried to salvage what I could. Brought down donuts and stuff for everybody to eat it, for the coffee break and stuff at church. And I was the most popular guy there as far as the kids were concerned. Ha. But in the end, if I wouldn't have been able to keep it. Just my body just broke down. Eventually, I wasn't the only one getting people just made me sick and screwed up my health insurance. I'm like, thank you. Nice work on working at the employee loyalty. Just, oh, a fadoodle. You know, if you know, uh, no, I can't even imagine doing that now. Bust a hump, man, but it felt good though. You know, you went home. You went home tired and greasy and kind of mungy. All the donuts we could eat. Leftover donuts, man. That was awesome. Of course, it's probably why bleh, now you get into that habit. But you know, I can't say I regret quitting. But I could sort of see which way the trend was going. Eventually, I was going, I was getting sicker more often, and I was losing a step. I was slowing down a lot, and I realized, sooner or later, I'm not going to be fast enough to keep this up. And I'm not, and I'm a terrible leader. I'm a terrible leader. I'm terrible with authority. Of course, having to work with a guy, the only underling I had was a complete tool. So, there you have it. But really, yeah, I'm terrible as a leader. I'm terrible as an authority figure. I don't know how to handle it. I'm bad at it. So it's better better off to not mess with it. I can barely supervise myself. I do not need somebody else to supervise. That's one thing I should not have. I can be kids. I can be I can entertain kids. I can be fun. I can have fun with kids. I can even tell them stories and keep their attention and But as an authority figure, I'm horrible. I'm terrible. I was a Sunday school teacher for a while, and it was just a mess. I've been no, I'm bad at it. I'm bad at being in any position of authority or power, and thank God, it's just not something I should do. Nothing I should be. Uh, uh, the closest I could come to being a teacher is being an edutainer. Like something like Beekman's World or Bill Nye the Science Guy or something like Sesame Street or just something like that. Mr. Rogers, that kind of thing. It's something like that I could probably do, but being an actual authority figure, no. Just no. Maybe I just didn't grow up myself to begin with. So I don't know how to handle it. Ugh, pardon. Maybe I just don't know how to handle it. But there you have it. That's just how it is. But Goodness. Oh. Oh, goodness, pardon me. I'll stretch a little bit. Ow. Let's see. Beg your pardon. I was, the fact is, I'm not actually using the tab. I'm using the mouse. When I use the mouse, I seem to get unsteady lines. I guess I'm just getting old. I still keep the tablet handy, and I keep the mouse handy. You know, every now and then I'll use it for touch-up detail and stuff. But yeah. I could never be Mr. Rogers. He's too mellow. I'm too. I'm too far away from where God wants me to be. I'm not at peace with myself. Not at peace at all. Don't think I've ever really been. I'm not at peace with God. And it shows. And I feel it. And well, no. Now it is 7:44. It's oh my, little tired tonight. I may not be on tomorrow. I may not be on. I'm still thinking that over. In fact, I'm pretty sure I'm not going to be on tomorrow. Um, Let me see here. What is today? Tuesday? No, it's Monday. Uh, Need to decide. Need to decide. Um, well, hmm. Uh, Dizzy. It has appeared that somebody was informing me. It has appeared that somebody has been inspired by my story, "The Rise of Darth Vulcan," and they spelled it Dark Vulcan. But yeah, whatever. Not sure how I feel about that. The big debate tomorrow. Who's the big debate tomorrow between? I know nothing. I know not of a yon debate. Pardon. Who's it by? Who's it by? Who's it from? Who is the debate between? You're gonna have to. You're gonna have to. Well, since you're not answering, now I've got to go Google it. You don't have to talk once in a while, people. If I ask a question, big debate. Oh, I'm guessing Bill Nye, the Todd Aiken Bill Nye debate, or the big Bill Nye versus Ken Ham debate. Oh, I like this is impartial. Bill Nye versus Ken Ham. Should scientists bother debating creationists? Uh, because creationists can't be scientists, right? Never mind that those scientists probably have a better those creationists probably have a better grasp of scientists than most of the people detracting them do. That makes me mad. Uh, the people they are insulting anthropologists, geologists, astronomers, engineers, physicists, with, yes, genuine degrees. And ooh, it just, ooh, you know? I got one for you. Should scientists bother debating atheists? Oh, there would be a stink and a half if somebody said that. How dare you hit primitive heathens, call these people unscientific? Yeah, 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 yeah. That's. You know what's going to happen if Bill Nye loses the debate? They're going to say, "Oh well, he's not a real scientist." You can't argue with idiots. Okay, there is no arguing with a moron. And yes, I'll call them idiots. The fool has said in his heart there is no God. Yeah, there's quite a bit of a delay between my broadcast and YouTube. I suppose it's a safety thing, but all the that's arrogance beyond belief. And what's pathetic is that the only person who is willing to actually even pretend to debate, to face creationists in a real, sincere, solid, debate, is a guy who made a name as a scientist on a children's show. You'll never see Dickie Dorky Dawson's doing something like that, now will you? It's just the arrogance of it. Just the sheer arrogance. I'm not going to watch the debate. No. Well, first of all, because I probably can't find it. For second of all, I don't want to spend a day resisting the urge to punch my computer screen. And that's what it's going to come down to, because they're going to say the most outrageous, ridiculous, ludicrous things, and we're just going to have to sit there and take it. If this is an example of their debating method, this is probably the reason that they don't want to get into a real debate is because they know that they're going to provoke somebody into punching them. I don't think real scientists should be debating creationists. Uh, this is probably how they intend to quote unquote win the argument. There's going to be, this is how they have to win the argument. They have to be rude and condescending and insulting. And they're going to provoke. They're going to do their best to provoke the other side of the debate into saying something out of anger, saying something rude. And then they go, see, they're not real scientists. They can't even debate, blah, 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 blah. They never lose the debate. They just change the terms. Now, let us start with this. Okay, how many of you heard this microevolution and macroevolution? How many of you heard that term? Now, here's the problem. When I was a science student, they called what they're calling microevolution used to be called by the accurate scientific term variation and adaptation. The idea that there are certain variations variations in the species, they can adapt to a certain degree. And also real natural selection, where those that are best adapted to an environment, tend to survive and have offspring. That's not up for debate. That's observed science, but that's not evolution. That's variation within the species. Evolution involves the belief in beneficial mutations to the population. The theory of evolution is that random mutations occur, some of which are beneficial and which are selected for by natural selection. Creationists dispute that. Because, first of all, there's no clinical evidence in the history of science of a single beneficial mutation occurring. There are many beneficial variations And there have been many mutations, but statistically, no. There's never been a beneficial mutation observed. Now, it's become very popular for the secular scientific community, aka people who are atheists and agnostics who don't want to argue that creation isn't the creationist theory isn't science, quote unquote. To start referring to everything as quote-unquote evolution. Social change is evolution. Design change in computers is evolution. Variation, adaptation, and natural selection are micro evolution. Everything's evolution, except actual mutation into a new species, which is what the theory is based on. That way they can call, if you can call everything evolution, hey, anytime somebody says they don't believe in evolution, it makes it much easier to make them sound unscientific, doesn't it? They lose the argument, so they change the terms. They're not scientists, they're dogmatics. And they will do anything anything at all to try and win PR points and convince the world that anybody who disagrees with them is unscience, is not only unscientific but anti-science. Despite the fact that most of the most important scientists in history were all creationists. Many of them, quite a number of them were Christian. And despite the fact that there are people who are, atheist or agnostic who flat out say that the theory of evolution is screwed up and cannot explain the data observed. And in fact is contrary to the data observed, which is the more important part. But all that's ignored because they create a false dichotomy and then laugh at us for not being able to leap out of it. The false dichotomy is that either you're a scientist or you're a creationist. If any evidence indicates the possibility of creationism being true, that evidence is obviously unscientific. That is not science. That's begging the question. That's loading the deck. I really don't feel like watching a reasonable man try and debate an idiot. In order for evolution to be science, look, science involves falsifiable theories. In other words, you have to come a hypothesis, a falsifiable. You know what a falsifiable hypothesis is? You observe a phenomenon. You come up with an idea of what caused it. And you can do, and your idea of how it can be caused can be tested by experimentation, and that experiment can produce a negative or a positive result. An experiment that is slanted so that it can only produce one result, a theory that is designed so that you cannot get any other answer, is not science. The way evolution works is that they come in with the question. They see life. They say evolution. They propose an experiment, then they test it. If it's true, it's evolution. If it's not true, it's more evolution. Because creationism isn't science. Remember? Because the only alternative to accident is the only concept possible. There is no other alternative to evolution other than creation. Either everything was made, or it just happened. Those are your two options. Either or, there is no middle ground. You can't just sorta, accidentally, kinda, maybe happen accidentally on purpose, any more than you can be a little bit pregnant. Either it was made or it just happened. Creationists are people who look at the evidence and say, this is consistent with the idea that it was made by an intelligence. Furthermore, it is consistent with the laws of physics as we know them. Evolution is not. Because evolution requires random chance to result in an increasing complexity of information in a system spontaneously. Evolution requires more faith than any creationist theory you care to name. Because it requires you believe that the laws of physics ran backwards. Just long enough for, in just specific circumstances required for life to spring into existence and to go from amoebas to human beings. Evolution requires that the universe run backwards. That the laws of entropy stand on their head and go, la la, I don't see nothing, while life happened. And you'll excuse me if I'm cranky, but being called an idiot by people who believe that the clock built itself makes me irritable. They don't believe in God for the same reason that a chicken thief doesn't want to believe in the local sheriff. Because that means that there's somebody to answer to. And they're not going to like the answers they're going to have to come up with. There's just not much you can do for people like that. There are countless atheists in the world. I forget who it was. It was said a friend of mine. He said that he put this quote on his own homepage. Why is it that a person who looks at the evidence, looks at the quote unquote evidence and decides that God doesn't exist, is a rationalist, but a lettered scientist who have looked at the evidence and have gone the opposite direction and concluded that yes, there is a creator, suddenly are no longer scientists? Chew on that one for a while. Here, let me say something to you as a human being, not as a Christian, but as a human, just as a material person. It would be ever so alluring and tempting. It would be ever so alluring to believe that there is no God, that we may all do as we please. That's what it boils down to. There is no God. We all may do as we wish. I would love to believe that there is no hell. The idea of an eternal place of punishment is tragic and heartbreaking to me. But no matter how tragic I find it personally, is not going to answer the question of whether or not it's true. There are a lot of things I would love to believe that. Oh, for instance, that socialism would work. I would love to believe that everybody could all stand in a big daisy chain circle, from each according to his ability, each according to his needs, and that it would all work out beautifully, and that we'd all live in a perfect classless utopia forever, and we'd all have ice cream 3 times a day, and all and then someday we'd go out and become Starfleet, but I know better. Children grow up and realize that their wishful thinking is not true. And if they really grow up, they realize that it would be horrible. The universe would be an incredibly horrible place if their fairy tale imaginings and irrational wishes had been true. Let me put it this way. What's the problem? What's the problem with the universe without a hell? I want you to picture a house without a toilet. Okay? The question of good and evil is pretty straightforward. Something has to be done with it. We know evil exists. We can look around and see it. So there's no sense in denying it. And a universe where there is no recourse for dealing with evil is far more horrible than one with a hell in it. Nobody ever thinks about what it would be like, like a socialist utopia. Nobody thinks about what living in a socialist utopia would be like, even if it worked. Imagine living in a world where you're interchangeable with any other person. That's what it would take. That's what a utopia, a socialist utopia, would be, where nobody had anything to distinguish them from anybody else. They couldn't. That's the only way they could exist. Otherwise, there would be one doing more than another, one getting more than another, one having more than another, one being more than another. A world like that would be terrible to live in, because we'd have no reason for being there, because anybody could take our place. The people who love that Beatles song Imagine, oh, it's such a wonderful song. It's such a wonderful song about how wonderful the world could be just if we imagine. The people who love the Beatles song Imagine have no imagination of their own. They're incapable of thinking more than one step ahead. Moral, rational, sensible, sober, God-fearing Christian people can. And we know we can reason out just how terrible those visions of utopia would actually be. Tiring. Oh my. Case of the sleepies again. Like was it Sheridan on Babylon 5 who said that he took great comfort in the notion that the universe was inherently unjust and unfair? He said that because, well, from one perspective, if the world was just the way it should be, we are all condemned already. Those of us who have not accepted Christ are condemned already. Now, one of the things he pointed out is most people will say it they should take comfort they live in an unjust world, because if justice happened as we truly deserved it, there would scarcely be a building. They would. Should I put it this way: is that imagine how terrible the world would be if all the awful, horrible, terrible things that have happened in this universe were things we actually deserved. Sorry. Well, it is just about 8:30, and I am starting to wear out. So I'm starting to run low on steam. So I'm going to call it a night. I will. I'm still debating on it. Oh, did my image freeze again? Is my image frozen? I can't tell. I really got to get like something to flap in the background or to move, or get one of them little lightning bolt globes. Sit there, yeah. Okay, yeah. Okay, I'm tentatively scheduled for tomorrow, 6 to 9, same bat time, same bat channel. If I cancel, I'll post a notice. My channel. Let's see if I can find it. Find a link to it. My channel. www.youtube.com, just RH Jr. You can yeah, that's where you can go to get stuff. When I do a video, I'll change my I'll have to change that to my YouTube channel for live streaming. And I'm posting it in the channel. Post. Comments can't contain links. Well, fine. Okay, I'll put the link in the video description. Video description? Okay, that's okay. Save. Channel settings. Video description. Description. Here we go. Paste. There we go. Save. Okay. There it is. It's in the channel description. That's my YouTube channel. That's where I'll post my videos. And for now, I bid you all good night. Say a prayer for me. I need all the help from Jesus I can get.